Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast with Glenn Hattem. He is Chief Executive Officer at Colorado Life Coaching. So, going to talk about health. We're going to talk about mindset, mastery, high performance, and everything in between. Biohacking, hopefully, and relationships even. So, this podcast is brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start scale, be invited to podcast or find your sponsors. Podcasts are quite amazing to scale your business, learn at the same time, and grow your network. They check all my boxes personally, and I've developed a flywheel system to have your podcast scale very quickly and efficiently. So podpire.com if you need help for that. Glenn, welcome to the pod. Can you tell me a bit more about yourself and about what you're up to nowadays?
Thank you. I really appreciate to be here with you, Charles, in the audience. Myself, gosh, I'm just a fellow human being, fellow traveler, trying to get through life and stay alive. And staying alive for me is living this one crazy life as crazy as possible. So I try to walk what I preach, and that is trusting your own innate wisdom. For some of us, we kind of have been on a path that's been a little too much externally focused. So a lot of the work we do with Colorado Life Coaching has a lot to do with my journey, which has been switching gears from focusing on the outer manifestations to where is the direction coming from, learning how to hear the whisper, the voice within, and listen to that wisdom, trust that within all of us, we've been given a gift, and helping the way to discover that gift is to start asking better questions. And so as you probably experienced for yourself along the journey of like becoming a great podcaster, it's important to say, all right, here's what I'm good at, and then here's where greatness lies, and I have to leave the safe net of goodness and take the leap of faith. And as you might have experienced, like a lot of us, that when we do that crazy leap, as Steve Harvey likes to say, the parachute doesn't open up right away, and we get a little bit of skin ripped off of us. But eventually, the chute will open up. It will happen for all of us if we'll just take that leap of faith and leave our safety of the nest. I guess a lot of the work that I'm about in my career of being a fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle coach, so then helping coach people in business, health, and relationships, which are all intertwined. A lot of the work is helping one on their own unique spiritual journey of discovering, why am I here? Am I here just for these material things or for these mechanical moves? Or is there something wanting to come through me and be expressed fully? So how can we each get closest to the truth that lies within us, and not the truth that has been through our limited identity filtering system? And how can we break free of that old storyline, put a reframe, and decide, I'm gonna create like a never created before. I need to get the old version of me out of the way and birth a new version of me. So as I've experienced in my life is full of many death and rebirth cycles before the big one. We have to go through many iterations of ourselves. And if we can really start to observe ourselves, that, we're not the same person we were when we were a teenager or in college, or even like last year, hopefully. Some of us get a little stagnant, and then the swamp stinks up enough that we have to move. But how can we free ourselves from a previous dynamic, a previous lower level vibration of expression and suppression, to really going for this extraordinary life that wants to be provided for us? But we have to become remember the version of ourselves that's as vast as sky and potential. And so I often might talk with a client who might have a drinking addiction and say, hey, look, you've experienced life out here through alcohol as being your supporter, and but what about all this back here that you haven't experienced of yourself? What if you could just park your previous version of yourself on a shelf for a moment and see what it'd be like to experience yourself doing some of the things that hadn't been in your wheelhouse up until now, but had been but you've seen them foreshadowed. You've felt and witnessing other people's role modeling of a different expressions that, hey, that's maybe possible for me. And now how can I start asking questions and ask for help with that? So Colorado Life Coaching is a lot about helping people find the resources, find the truth within, and execute on a strategic action plan that will start producing different mathematical results along a spreadsheet. So we figure out what your new values are and what are the new KPIs to pay attention to. Hopefully that's a good nut for you of where I'm most impassioned these days.
Yeah. First question, how do you ask better questions?
Well, I always found that, one of the first hardest questions, to ask yourself is, who am I really? And peel the onion down. What am I if I'm not this body, if I'm not these thoughts, if I'm not these feelings, which I've been having. I had them yesterday, I had them the day before. And I tend to be tuning into a certain frequency, just like on the radio, I tune into FM station this, and it makes me feel like crap all the time. Like, oh, what if I tune into AM this station, and I experience life through a different filter, a different degree of thoughts, a different degree of emotions. That all these things are out there spinning around in the universe, and a whole bunch of us are tuned into that one station at that lower vibrational frequency, and some people are tuned into a higher level vibration frequency that has more creative, positive potential in it. How can we ask one question over and over to have it reveal deeper and deeper truths to us?
Right. And what about life experiences? You seem to be living lots of them. How do you get as much data input and improve your internal algorithm, and take notes and be more aware of what you're living, and using all of that in a melting pot to ask better questions?
Yeah, great question, Charles. My experience has been, I'm 50 now, but I believe way before 50 we have enough data, we have enough evidence, if we just would look at the data, like we're still alive, that we've obviously done some things right, we've modified, adjust things, where there are some universal truths and themes, patterns to pay closer attention to. I think the questioning is, what are the patterns here? Why am I still doing the thing that I told myself I would stop? Or why am I not doing the thing I told myself I would do, get started doing? Or what's the thing that I'm doing really well that I could actually do a lot more of, and the world wants to experience more of that? I think the questioning process. So we all know what it's like when someone comes in and you share something about yourself, and then they make a bold statement. And then we often, or even along staple to that is advice on what you need to do next. And I find we can get more lost and we get defensive when someone comes in and gives us a simplified label on our predicament. And it would be as silly as me being on a Mac and I'm like, hey, click right. And you're like on a PC and you're like, no, it's click left. And so I can get you pretty lost if you keep following my chain of thoughts, versus learning. If we could be in conversations where each of us are personally responsible for our emotional intelligence, we're responsible for our own traumas, our past traumas and triggers, and meaning, like, I've got myself, I'm going to floss my teeth because you can't floss my teeth. I'm going to be responsible for all things I need to be responsible for. And now I'm going to come to the conversation, not just to talk your ear off, but I'm actually, and feel good about just blabbing, but actually, like, I already know what I know. And when I'm in a state of knowing, I can't learn anything new. So if I can park my knowing and come into a fresh new experience, I can come with curiosity, open eyes, open ears, and ask questions to actually know a little bit further. And then I can communicate responsibly with you in an active way where I'm actually going to acknowledge your perspectives and try to understand more. And you coming in responsible, you're going to ask, we're going to go back and forth, not just in a bantering way of entertainment with each other and personal shares, but communicating in a way that Like, let me help you get what you're after. Like, what are you wanting? What do you need? And I'm so committed. You can tell my talking with you, like, how can I give you the most like meat to what you're trying? Like, am I in the right path of the answer you're seeking? Let me help you get to that. And you come in the same way. We can be in a really powerful, life-changing. I mean, this could be the next life-changing conversation.
Could be. I need to ask your clients, what kind of challenges have they been facing since COVID, and how do you help them resolve these?
Yeah, some folks, there's like a split population, right? You got folks that are like, this is the worst thing ever happened, no sports, I guess I'm gonna just drink more alcohol, smoke more weed. Like I'm running all the things my teams cheer for and all the activities that I used to numb out to. It was very uprooting for a lot of people. And I'm like, great. Hope for those who use it as an opportunity to wake up and actually not be following the herd. There was a great opportunity to discover what lies beneath the surface. And for me, I like, oh, hell yes, this is great. COVID was like the best thing invented aside from the vax. And it's the same thing. Like when I found out I got a tumor in my head, I found out I had a pituitary tumor. I had no symptoms, went in just doing a random blood test because a friend was like, hey, Glenn, you're turning 50 and you really need to get these things checked out. I'm like, no, you go get checked out as a man, you find out there's something wrong, and sure enough, I did. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It told me I got, you only have so many more Wednesdays left, to live life to the fullest, to be of service to others, to take your knowledge and your wisdom and just help others versus being in the first half of life is very much about building an identity structure and focusing on your own personal success and me. Like there's all the spirally focused energy all about yourself. But really we're supposed to be harpooning the other direction to like, how can I share, what I have to offer? So a philosophy that I carry with me prior to COVID times that I bestowed with clients when they've come in and needing, obviously with coaching, some folks are in crisis or depressed and anxiety levels are high, or they're trying to get off meds. They're trying to find a plan of action. My experience has been in my own showing of myself on how when I was a little bit ignorant, my focus was external. I'm like, hey, you've got a problem. I'll over pour my cup into you. And then I get off balance. I self-abandon and I'm there to be used up by you as much as needed because you gave the knock for help or questions and needing answers. And what I've learned, and I used to work out just for myself in the morning or do my meditation. It was just for myself. But I realized I actually needed to work out intensely, challenge myself, meditate, read books, everything so that I was fully stocked and overflowing to be able to provide for those I came in contact with. So I've kind of taken the philosophy of like, become a chocolate fountain. You should be overflowing so everybody can come up and get a delicious cup. So those that are ready to hear and ready to put in their work that only they can do, that imagine each of us just shut by us giving ourselves permission to shine our own light fully expressed. We cast that light on others' path so they can take those scary moves and jump off their cliffs and go for their crazy dream and adventure in this one life to live. So I think a lot of people in COVID times just said, this is some bullshit I've been doing. Like, this is not working. All those relationships, the cracks opened up because they had to spend time with each other. Now they had it all perfectly figured out on how to not spend quality time or build that level of intimacy. And then there's folks that were like, this is the best thing that happened. The relationship blossomed. I mean, there are great relationships out there in this world where, there's a split down the middle, people divorcing and, no, there's like I'm now experiencing, there are a lot of incredible relationships and partnerships out there. And then I think, Trump and this last Biden, we get to experience, bullshit so loud that everybody else's bullshit gets really loud. And it's almost like everybody's wearing the sign on their head that says, hey, here are the issues I'm not dealing with, not been responsible for. And so I think there's a great percentage of people going deeper into sleep, and then there's a great percentage of folks that are waking up and that are showing us what's possible. And so I've been very blessed to be swimming in that space. So COVID, I think, has been as horrible and debilitating or uprooting it's been for a lot of folks. Maybe that was a good thing. And it hasn't maybe revealed yet the benefits to come of that. But I think when you're swimming in some of the, the hard times, right coming in next is the good times are just around the corner. If you'll just stay the course and keep putting one more foot in front of the other, one more of your best foot. So I think a lot of people have been able to experience that revealing. And then there's other folks that are still kind of banging their head against the wall stubbornly, thinking I can still do things the way we used to do. And the world's changed. You've changed.
I did. What does your day-to-day biohacking regimen looks like to keep your health at 50?
Yeah, that's it's always a challenge with sleep. And it's always a challenge with eating well, and it's always a challenge with putting those sneakers on. I love to quote Goggins. I'm a big fan of David Goggins, but he'll often say, like, I don't want to do that run. He's like, I might have to stare at my shoes for an hour. It's like if you can, and a lot of people disagree with this, but just try it out. If you don't want to do the dishes right now, do them. Stop going based on your emotions. Like, make some commitments and keep to your word. Keep with your personal integrity. That's what you have. You have your word, the word you give to yourself and to the world. You say, hey, I got to get up tomorrow morning, and you didn't sleep well, and you got to get that morning and do your workout or your meditation. Do it in spite of that. It'll be easy on the day when the sun's shining. You got tripped up by the weather is dog shit. Fine, go run when there's like black ice on the ground, and you're gonna have to be extra mindful and careful. But when it's not and the sun's out and it's gorgeous, it's gonna be easy, and you're gonna enjoy. Oh my gosh, look at the leaf changing. It's the hottest day. I like to go run in the middle of the summer in the heat of the day. I'm the only person out there, and then I run into other knuckleheads. I'm like, oh, somebody else just as crazy as me out here. I was up in the mountains, and I was about to go for my run, and I saw white squall coming in, blizzard, and it's coming in at 1:00. And I was about to go, oh, I better hurry up and get my run in right now. And I'm like, I had to like slap myself kind of silly and say, no, you wait till 1:00 and you go for your run and when the blizzard hits. And so it's not the smiley picture like you see of people at the gym, all smiling, working out on the days they love to work out. They'd only work out 1 or 2 days a week. I get in 6-7 days a week of exercise because I'm not controlled by anything externally. In fact, if something external comes, I'm like, game on. So it's learning how to get off the sidelines and be in the game and play your game and start to quiet one voice in your head. That's that hypercritical voice that's trying to keep you safe. Okay. And there's another voice. If you could just get quieter and hear the whisper, that other voice is trying to tell you, hey, we got to do that. That thing you're afraid of doing, you're scared of doing, do it anyways. In spite of that, in spite of your circumstances right now, do these things. And then mathematically over time, you get reps in, there's a compounding effect where you will see results in an area of your life you had not seen before. And if you listen to that voice, it's trying to take you there to new places. You're again, something's got to die off. And then something's got to be birthed, which means that there's new rules. So as the next chapter is always coming of life, and you got to turn the page, why kick and scream? Why just acknowledge the chapter's changing? Here's some new rules, new skill set, new mindset, new ways of being, new journeys, new people. All these things are wanting to come in now. Surrender is the thing, that the magical piece. Like, you put forth your effort, but then you open up and you allow, by surrendering, you create a vacuum for the new things that you've been allowing now. Instead of blocking by 5 minutes, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, you're saying, I'm not going to delay things anymore because I think I need to be more prepared or more ready. Just allow new things to come in, and the universe will conspire and provide the resources and support of people, the right questions to ask. All these things will start happening if you'll just shift energies from your you're efforting, controlling, trying to manipulate the world. We are a rock hurling through space. You don't have that much control other than your ability to observe things a little bit more calmly. So hopefully that's helpful on that little nugget there.
The podcast that you started, what were the objectives behind it? And did you use it as a client lead magnet?
Yeah, the 1% podcast was really I just wanted to, well, there was a couple things originally to get that thing initiated. Was I just wanted to get over my fear of being on camera, looking foolish, and not being able to do things perfectly, meaning I had to hit record and keep that copy. And instead of like a lot of people where they have on their, the Instagram poses with their camera and they jump in the air and they're trying to get that perfect jump picture. It's like, no, just shoot, raw, real. And the intention with that was the first piece. The second piece, I got to hang out with a lot of good buddies and people that I really respected and admired in the different fields. They developed their expertise and they got to share their messy journey, and that it's not all sunshine and roses, and that there's a difference between what's conveyed and presented in a marketing standpoint to what goes on behind the scenes. And I think that was really great for them as well as myself to share that experience. And then I think from a marketing standpoint for my business, I had so many leads would call up and say, I love the way you handled that conversation with this person here and how you were showing up. I just knew you were the coach, or what your business stood for. I really just resonated, and I wanted to reach out and make that connection. Let's start there.
Right. Talking about fear, last question. You're trying to face your fear of heights with rock climbing. What did that taught you?
Well, first thing, I should have been more honest with my guide, because he, I just called up and said, "Hey, you ever taken anybody up to climb these 3 flat irons in Boulder in one day?" And he's like, "You a climber?" I'm like, "Sure am." And so it became our way of becoming good friends. But that morning, I'm sure I surprised him on a number of occasions, because we climbed from in the middle of winter from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m, 10 miles, 50 pitches, and a lot of moments of, I shouldn't be out here. What the hell am I doing here? I'm going to die. I was there to burn off an aspect of myself. I had read enough books. I'd meditated. I needed to be thrown into the frying pan. And sure enough, I did. It was very great. Numerous crucibles of like, oh my gosh, I really got a handle on this. I do not have a handle on this, and having to run kind of like a marathon, run through those cycles of emotions. And I came down a different person, a different soulful being from that experience. But it was took a lot of courage. I know for a fact I'm a courageous person, because it scared the crap out of me the whole day. For a whole day from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m, climbing out in the winter, the cold, out of food, out of water, bruised toes and fingers, and darkness and wind, and every element was like, "You sure you want to do this?" I think we all need to be create that for ourselves, and maybe with a coach help define what's that thing. Maybe it's a shark cage. I don't know. So
yeah, or surfing big waves, for example. Yeah, it's quite scary to climb a wall and knowing that without the cord you drop and die. Facing your death, I guess. So where can people find out more about you, Glenn?
Just go to coloradolifecoaching.com. Just check in, see what we're about. We got some incredible coaches here. We've got incredible curriculum. I've read a number of books on exercise, nutrition, the psychology behind it, and a recent new book called Amplify that we've based our curriculum on. We've got 3-month programs, 6-month programs, year-long programs. But what we do have, forget about the programs. Do you need a structure, a framework in your life to just get in integrity with your life's calling, your mission, to hear that voice, to know what you're here to do, and be able to execute on that plan with support, love, and compassion, to do the work that only you can do, that you're meant to do, to live the life you're meant to live. Stop putting it off.
Thank you for that, Glenn. That was Glenn Hattem and Charles Cormier for another CEO Wisdom Podcast.com.